Well, today we have on Mr. Ethan Dalton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Ethan is a college student, and he goes to Emory and Henry. He is also a graduate of Carroll County High School
And Whitfield.
and with a community college. So, Ethan, where did you grow up?
Grew up right here in Carroll County, Virginia.
You did, and where'd you go to elementary school at?
Hillsville, Virginia.
Hillsville, Virginia.
Home of the
Hillsville.
Patriots.
Okay. So Hillsville Elementary.
Hillsville Elementary, yes.
You went to Hillsville Elementary School,
Uh-huh.
and then after that, did you go to the intermediate school?
Yeah, I went to the middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Same difference. It's
Yeah,
just
well, there was
changed.
the Woodlawn Intermediate School.
And they consolidated that in 2012.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom used to work there. So I was there a lot, actually, on, like, teacher work days.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
Okay. And then your mom actually moved to Carroll County Middle School
yeah.
after that. Your mom teaches 7th grade.
Yeah.
For those who are listening. Did you have her, Ethan?
I did not know.
I had her.
Had Miss Dalton.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
teachers at the middle school. Did you have her, Ethan?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about having your own mother
man.
as a teacher?
That was an experience.
Because
Well,
your mom, she doesn't play around with anybody else. Did she play around with you?
play around. Well, I got silent lunch quite a few times from her.
From your mom?
Yeah, the only time I've ever gotten silent lunch is from my mom. And it was never my fault. It was always someone else's fault, but I always took the blame. I personally didn't take the blame. She just always blamed me.
Mm.
And well, as she was an English teacher, and English isn't a very hard subject for me, so I didn't really struggle in her class, academically wise. But she was a lot harder on me than like all of her other students, and expected more out of me, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, "Oh, your mom's just picking you because you like." No, there was a lot of things that like she was harder on me than everyone else. And like one example, like there was a spelling bee in class. I got out on the first round. I cannot spell. I misspelled tennis. Yeah, everybody made fun of me for that one. They're like, your mom's an English teacher, and you
Miss Dalton.
misspelled tennis. And I was like, yeah. And she was so disappointed in me too. Like when I said it wrong, she's like, sit down. I was like, all right.
Would she bring up stuff that happened in class at home?
Yeah, she does. She does. Especially like some of my friends that she also had in class. She'll bring up like Luke Watson, for example.
Well, yeah. But if something happened during the school day when you were there and you said something, when you got home, would she get on to you
yes,
about?
yeah. She'd always be like, "I need to have a conference with your parent, talk about my dad," and they would discuss my behavior in class.
Because your mom's class, I loved her class, but I was pretty, how do I put it, loose in that class. I had a good time, and I think she enjoyed it. But
Yeah, no, she really did, because she says a lot about you.
I got silent lunch from her too.
Yeah,
But, hey,
she's pretty. She gives it out. She'll give it out.
So you leave the middle school. Was she your favorite teacher at the middle school?
No,
No. Who was?
I almost have to say I really enjoyed Mr. Hobbs' class.
What did
Not
he
Mr.
do?
Hobbs. Mr. Hash.
Hash, yes.
Mr. Hash.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Mr. Hash.
Me too.
Also enjoyed Miss Knowles.
Miss Knowles.
I really
yeah.
liked Miss Knowles.
I love
Is
Miss
she still
Knowles.
teaching?
No, she retired a
Oh,
few years ago.
yeah.
Because I think she was there she was there during COVID too.
Saw her at Food Line and talked to her.
I had her second last year.
Mm.
So she was good.
Yeah.
Her class was a lot of fun.
It was. Did
We
you have her
actually-
for mass media?
Yeah, mass media.
Yeah.
I love that class. I love doing like the announcement stuff.
Yeah.
I think we actually used one of these in her. She did an intercession class where we did it.
Oh, yeah.
It was an interview
I remember
class.
intercession. I
Okay.
forgot
It was,
about
it was an
intercession.
interview class, and we got to interview veterans.
Oh.
And it's kind of like what we're doing now, but
Yeah,
Oh,
way back then. Do you remember that?
I have
precursor.
that next year after you guys did that, I took her class for mass media, and I got to edit together all those clips and I put them together on the announcements. I have the video still, Luke and Ethan. I'll show it to you after the episode.
I'd be
But-
glad to.
They all, when you guys did the interviews with them, you all recorded them saying the Pledge of Allegiance, right?
Yeah.
Well, I spliced it up, and I had them each say, I had one veteran say, I pledge, and then the next one say allegiance,
Yeah.
and then the next one say to the flag, and then the next veteran of the United States of America. So it's a compilation of all the veterans saying a part of the Pledge of Allegiance. I thought that was neat.
That was a really cool thing for her to do.
Yeah.
I liked her, Calvin Andrews, my personal favorite.
Yeah, I meant
Oh
to
yeah,
show
you
them.
did like Calvin
I
Andrews.
had him
loved
for
him.
a single day before school went down.
couldn't handle it. So you leave the middle school. Next, I'm sure you go to the high school. That's where I met you at. I knew you a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw you coming in the class.
I'd heard stories about you.
I didn't really like you for some reason. It was one of those things you just see somebody like, eh.
Hear that a lot.
You don't really, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, he just looks like he'd be disagreeable. And then I met you, and it was great. As you walked into the locker room and everybody flipped out.
I remember that day, actually. I was super nervous to go in. And, as I, was walking in towards the locker room, I was like, oh, man, I'm about to meet my team. And I go in there, and, I see all of y'all, and everybody goes, are you running cross country? I was like, yeah. And everybody started, cheering me on and was, super supportive. Yeah. And from that moment on, I was like, man, I like this. Yeah. And, that's another big thing as well, Alton. Yeah. Alton Overson, he was, a really big welcoming me into it and, helping me along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you fit right in that first year.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That was your 10th grade year?
Yeah, it was 10th grade. Yeah, it was weird because it was in the last semester of 10th grade.
Right, because we did fall sports in the winter. It was weird how we did
and
that.
I think it was a short season, 6 weeks?
It was short, yeah.
Yeah, it was really short.
That season was over really fast. None of us went to regionals because I got sick.
I was the only one who went, because I remember...
Because you were gone, because you already had it.
You hurt your knee, right? Or something?
No, I was gone as well. Uh-huh. I was out for a bit, because I remember, talking to Luke or something. He's like, oh, yeah, one of my family members got COVID. I was like, oh, shoot. And then, the next day, everybody's sick.
Yeah.
I didn't get it from him.
No. That was when it was, really bad.
Because I thought I had allergies, and we were sitting there at the Hills Elementary School.
I remember, yeah.
And it was thunderstorming that day, so we had to sit in the thing. I said, my head's hurting, so I'm going to go home and take an allergy pill. And then that was our last practice of the season, because I got sick the next day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I felt bad about that, but you went on actually.
Yeah, I went to regionals by myself.
With Sean Montgomery,
which was
our coach.
Interesting experience.
Yeah, it must have been an awkward ride. Just you two.
I slept most of the way.
Okay. Yeah.
I pretty much slept the whole way and
Didn't
back.
Didn't you wake up and he was sitting there looking at you?
I would wake up. It's a funny story. It would hit a bump or something, and I'd wake up, and I'd look over at it, and we'd just make eye contact, and we didn't say a word. We just continued to go. And when we do the meet, I was like, what do you think I should do to? He's like, I don't know. I'm gonna go to the meet. I was like, okay. And so I sat in the van and played Clash Royale on my phone.
Did he give you the keys?
I don't remember.
That must
I just remember
strange.
It was interesting.
None of us has ever experienced a meet that strange before, like you did. That alone, just one person.
And I didn't know him very well either, because that was my first year, and I also started pretty late into the season.
Yeah.
Did you hang out with him before the race?
No.
Did he
went to
you?
The coaches meeting. No, I had to kind of track him down to find him.
You just lined up and went?
Yeah, I just lined up. I talked to a lot of other people on the line, which is a normal thing for me in cross country.
Didn't they have 2 groups that year too?
Yeah, they had a varsity and a JV race. Okay. But we never had.
I thought they split varsity up too.
No.
Because it was during COVID.
I mean, boys, but
they didn't. Mm. But yeah, so I remember I ran that race. I got a PR.
Hey.
I forgot what my time was.
That was at the Martinsville course.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. At the Martinsville Sports Complex. I ran a 24 something. It was not a time that I am proud of now. But for my first year and running, by myself with little to no motivation or
training too.
Or training, yeah. And I was also running in these Adidas slip-on shoes.
I remember that.
That I bought for $40 because they said they were running shoes, but not every running shoe that says they're a running shoe is a running shoe.
Yeah.
That is something I learned the hard way. And I learned that after I got really bad shin splints and knee problems.
Yeah. Because you ran track after that too, didn't you?
Yeah, right after. Actually, I was actually training for track as before regionals.
Track season started before regionals.
Yeah, they actually overlapped by a week or two.
Which is weird because Montgomery was coach for both of them. How did that work out?
Well, no, Coach Marshall, Kinsey Marshall was actually coaching me at that point.
But he was the head coach for both teams.
Yeah, because I didn't want to go to regionals, but she convinced me to do it. She's like, you might as well. It's your first year. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Because I didn't want to run it by myself. And cross country's not always been my thing. track is more my jam.
Mhm.
I love track. I love cross country still, but yeah, track is just where it's at for me. But so I really didn't want to do that meet, but she did convince me to do it.
Did he take you out to eat that day as well, like he normally does with us?
No.
Oh wow.
No, he did not. We went there and we went back, just sitting there because like I didn't know what else to do. Because like
Were
we
you
got there
nervous?
super early.
Yeah.
Was I nervous? Yeah, I was completely nervous. And I was like talking to the people online. There was this one guy. I was trying to get him to like give me a piggyback ride for the first mile. He said he would, but
no. So you do track, and was that your first year doing track too?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first year.
How did you? What did you like it? What did you think of it?
Track, well,
Can you highlight the difference between this from track and cross country?
Well, cross country, for like those who don't know, is typically for high school, it's a 5K race, which is 3 miles and just a little bit. It's 3 miles. 3.2.
3.1.
3.1? It depends on the course. Every
Yeah.
course is pretty much different.
Some of them are 2.9.
Yeah, some are
flat.
2.9, some are 5.3. Like, it gets kind of crazy. But cross country is a longer race, and track is like, it's around a track. It's normally, they're around football fields. It's 400 meters in length. And so you have like all different events. You have short distance events, you have long distance events, you have field events, you have all these different things. Personally, people who do cross country do long distance. And I've always found myself to enjoy like mid distance stuff, like the half mile, the 800, and the mile, rather than doing like the 2 mile. And then even up into college, the 5K on the track, and even the 10K.
10K on the track.
10K on the track
Yeah.
it's not a fun thing to do.
Do they have outdoor track for the 10K too?
Yeah, well, indoor 10K
Is that even?
yeah, that's like, how many laps is that?
That's a ton.
It's like,
Would be.
because it's 200
50,
meters.
it'd be 50 laps.
Yeah, it's absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
50
Oh,
laps.
yeah.
That'd
You-
be insane.
yeah, you have to run so many laps. At that point, you just forget.
How do they count them? Do they count them for them, or do they have?
Normally the
scoreboard?
person counts. Well, one of like my guys last year who ran in college, he ran the 10K, and he would have finished it, but they told him he was a lap ahead than he was. He was on lap like 50 instead of 49, but he was actually on 49, and he stepped off the track and they DQ'd him for it, and so
I
they
did
didn't get to
50
count it, and
laps
he
in
had
that thing.
one more lap.
And
And it absolutely made him really mad. But, it's just one of those things.
yeah,
It's like the
sucks.
marathon of the track world. That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
I didn't realize they had 10K indoor.
Yeah.
That must take a while too.
Yeah, they don't have it at like many indoor meets.
Yeah.
I think it's like a very few.
Yeah. So you did that track that year, and that was a short season.
Yeah.
The next 2 years, I'm just gonna let you talk,
Oh, next.
because me and Ethan, we both know what happened. I don't know what you want to talk about.
I would like to mention that first year you did track, it was just me and you.
Oh yeah. And for like quite a bit of it, because you had those like nosebleeds
Yeah.
a lot, and you were and you were also in middle school.
Right, yeah.
So you were only there for like certain days. And so like I was there running by myself for like majority of the year. Like I ran by myself in the meets, I ran by myself in the practices. I was just like, it was sort of lonely.
It was you and Elizabeth.
It was me and Elizabeth,
Yeah.
but Elizabeth's she also wasn't there for quite a bit because she did color guard.
Right.
And she didn't really want to run as well. And it like most of the time I still didn't run with her.
Right.
Either way, like nothing against her, it was just paces are different. And so it was a very lonely season.
Yeah.
Coach Marshall helped me a lot with it. She was really supportive. She's a great coach, and that's why I still think a lot of her and have a lot of respect for her.
Where all did you run that season? Because I think at that point we had restrictions on where we could run.
No.
No.
Well, see, he can put restrictions on it, but it doesn't really matter because
Well, right.
once you get to a point, it's like,
I think he said that we weren't really supposed to run on anywhere that wasn't a sidewalk, right?
oh, well,
Did he say that first year too, or because he's been saying that every year?
he's said that every year. I mean,
I think it may have started that year though.
I mean, I ran pretty much, I didn't run very far. Like, my mileage was not high at all.
Right.
Like, I mean, I just came from cross country. I had horrible shin splints.
Yeah.
I ran the Beaver Dam Trail a lot. I ran through town, the town loop that we normally do, that 4 mile loop
Right.
to the library, to the I ran that so many times. Ran around the track a lot, around the school, stuff like that. We did like Coach Marshall. She would like pick a lot of runs for us to do. Ran in neighborhood a lot.
Yeah.
We didn't do that hardly any this season.
No.
I don't think we did the loop once. The whole around the whole neighborhood. We went past it.
No, yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
Did a whole lot of like just track workouts and stuff like that. A lot of fartlek runs around the track. That's probably another reason injuries were bad that year, because I did do a lot of running around the track.
Yeah. That's certainly hard.
Especially on our track.
It's
We had a asphalt track instead of a rubber track like
Yeah.
most teams, and yeah, that can be quite painful.
it creates challenges.
Fun fact, like I've been running on the track, since I've been back, and our track has elevation. It's also short, or no, it's long.
Yeah.
Because
Long.
I was doing mile repeats, and I was hitting a mile like 50 meters before the line,
How
or
many
actually
meters?
like 100 meters.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what?
I've had the same thing happen.
Because it was messing up my pace too. Because I'm looking at, for like time that I'm gonna finish the mile, and I'm calculating that I'm gonna be up there, so I'm running too fast for my splits.
Right.
And so I'm making myself too tired, and it's just like, it was just wild to me.
Yeah, our tracks.
And it's
very
crazy that a track has elevation. It's like, for each lap, it's like 20 meters.
20 meters?
Up
20
and down,
meters.
yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the dip. I've identified it's the dip at the bleachers.
Yep.
And, well, not dip rather, but
It's like
Mountain.
there's like a mound there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
bad.
it is bad. Yeah. It makes running on the track really difficult.
Yeah. To be fair, our football field also has elevation change.
It does. Yeah. No, I was actually looking at it the other day. I got down low, and I was like, oh my god.
They do that on purpose there on the football field.
I mean, for the water
For
drainage.
water drainage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the track should be...
The track should be flat, but
I've heard they're putting new bleachers too, so
Yeah.
interesting.
why not
Wow.
get a new
Throw
track?
a new track
But
in there.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
money, but
Anyways,
but yeah. So
what
we
was,
did that first season, and
what was regionals like that year for track?
oh yeah, I did.
Oh,
Did you go into the summer?
I don't even really remember regionals. Yeah, that's. I have to think. I think it was just like any other track meet to me.
Yeah. So you don't remember regionals? Probably wasn't very memorable then.
Yeah.
Come into the season ending next summer, did you try to train for this upcoming season? Cross country season, that is?
That would have been your junior year.
Oh,
season?
going from then to then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or did you just kind of take that summer off?
Kind of. I'm sure probably did like a few runs with like you guys, maybe, but like here and there.
We didn't do the summer program at that point.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
we
did it.
didn't. Well, at that point, I wasn't super committed to cross country or track.
Right.
I was more just kind of doing my thing. It was still COVID time, and so like, there wasn't really much doing anything. Yeah, I was more focused on playing video games at that point than
Well, there
going
you
out
go.
and running. Yeah, I wasn't. My priorities weren't, towards running at that point.
Yeah. So for the next 2 years, we all ran together.
Yeah, yeah.
We had, I think it was 4 different seasons.
Cross country and track.
Cross country track.
4
A lot of
long
stuff happened.
seasons.
4 long seasons. We did a lot of stuff.
We
Ethan.
did.
And I don't know
A lot
what
of
you want
memories.
to bring up or talk about. So we're just going to let you go talk and
Yeah.
go away with it.
Yeah.
Any
kinda recap.
particularly fond memories?
Well, I'll start with the 11th grade cross country because I think that was close to the peak.
Oh, yeah. That was one of my favorite seasons
Yeah,
ever.
because I mean that's when we were all in it together.
And it was
That's
still
when
new.
Sam came in as well, Samuel
yeah,
Collins.
Yeah. We were in good shape that year.
And we were still really into it as well.
I wasn't in such good shape that year, but
You're getting better though.
oh yeah, I was getting better. I was definitely improving a lot from last cross country, but hadn't been running on I had not ran at all. And I remember I met Sam. That's an interesting story as well. When I first met Sam, for like those of y'all who don't know, Samuel Collins is another one of the Carroll County cross country runners, and he's a close friend of mine actually, and so he joined, and I didn't know who he was at all, and I couldn't run because I didn't have my physical yet, and neither did he, and so as like Coach Montgomery, he left to go do something, and so I looked over at Sam and I was like, you want to go race? Went and we did 100 meters down the track, and I was like, oh, I'm going to smoke this kid. And he puts on the jets and absolutely blows past me because he's fast.
Yeah.
He's a fast man. And that's when I first met him, and that was really the start of the season. And then, like, you know, we all start running. You know, the first couple weeks, you know, we all get used to each other.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of new people
Right.
at that point.
A lot of kids joined that year.
Because, I mean, to think we lost, like, half the team. We lost, you know, we went from 5 people to, and you were a middle schooler, too. So we went from...
So you didn't go to all the meets?
Yeah.
Taking
We
the school
technically
in.
went from 4 people. We lost 2. We actually lost...
We lost all those.
we
seniors.
lost, and Thomas, he didn't do it again.
Yeah.
So I thought
And
it was
so,
gonna be nobody that
It was
next
just
year.
me and you from, like, the year before,
Yeah.
and Ethan. And we had so many new people join.
It's right.
Because Davis joined that year, too, as well.
No, not your junior year. He joined your senior year.
He joined senior year?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah.
So yeah, from taking that little minivan to needing a
Yeah,
bus.
yeah, we had to take a bus. And, I mean, it was, like, I'd say the start of the program at that point.
Right.
And, you know, we won a few meets, maybe?
Not
we win
that,
any meets?
Not that year.
Not that year?
That
No.
next year we won 2 or 3. This year we won 4.
Grayson home. And
Yeah.
Your senior year, I think we were in Grayson home, and then I think that one in West Virginia.
Mhm.
We got second at Bluefield.
Was it second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did... See, that's also one thing, too. We never really, like... were, like, super committed runners. Because that's one thing as when I, you know, running in college, you know, I've talked to all my teammates there. And they're always, like, talking about their teams and how serious they were in running. But, like, when I hear... And, like, here, when we ran, we never really took runs very serious. We goofed around a lot.
Much to my
But
frustration.
we were
you might
always-
remember.
Yeah.
We were really good friends too.
You know, and I
It
don't
wasn't like
regret
a lot
it.
of other teams.
Yeah.
We did stuff out. We did a lot of stuff outside of running.
We created lasting friendships.
Yeah.
So it's like being on a team, hanging out with your best friends every evening,
Yeah.
and it's just an excuse to get
Yeah.
together, kind of.
I mean, we would hang out. I mean, there were times that we would put in work.
We did. I mean,
We did.
track especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, especially in track. But, well, and then, I mean, there were times that we also, you know, we had a lot of fun. I mean, 11th grade, I remember, in track, yeah, we went to Hillsville Mercantile, and we bought watermelon.
Yeah.
And she cut them up for us, and we carried them down in a box down to the Beaver Dam Creek.
And that's how we were also
Yeah.
sticky with that juice.
Yeah, we'd all been trading off. Luckily, we had Austin Jones
Yeah.
there to help us carry. Tanner did not help us carry, but Austin did, and he carried those like pretty much all the way.
Yeah. That was a good year.
Those were
That was good. Yeah,
That was good. Getting
That was a
yelled
good
at
moment.
bunch. Looking back on it, it was almost like something you always hear about. You know, read books and stuff from like the 1920s and 30s, like small towns. Everybody was like riding bikes everywhere, and
yeah.
kids used to go outside and play till it got dark. That was kind of like us.
Yeah, I mean, we played in the woods. We did stuff, you know, that kids do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really old fashioned in a way. And I'm thankful for that. I really am. And the next cross country season, your senior year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting.
This is when you really started getting serious because you were looking
Yeah.
at running in college. So.
Yeah. Cross country, my senior. Well, still at that point, I wasn't very sure if I wanted to, but I did start taking running more serious. I did run a lot more over the summer because we did have the running program with
Right.
Kenzie Marshall,
Next year. Yeah.
and that did help me a lot. And
running
it
and
wasn't
lifting.
Yeah,
We
it
lifted
was
some.
more lifting,
Yeah.
but I did a lot more running on my own. It helped me get more focus, you know, like get more on a schedule. And that's one thing that really helps with running is getting on a schedule and like making it something that you like have to do. Because some days you don't want to run, but besides that, continued running through the summer, which helped a lot. That is a big part of run. You have to almost always run to get faster, and so I did start getting more serious. And my times, I went sub 20 for like the first time in like so many years. And
You and Sam came across at Nice Crossing like at 1958.
Oh yeah,
Me
and Sam pretty much ran every race that year together. We pretty much every race. There were some races he fell behind, but
Felt like that regional meet, I think, was pretty rough for everybody.
regional meet. He just ended up out kicking me. He's a good sprinter.
Did he beat you at that, or did you beat him?
Regionals, he beat me at the very.
I remember nobody had great times that race though.
Yeah, no, that was a rough one. It was
hot.
It was so hot.
It was sunny, like it was November. I remember something.
And we got there really early too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when the tent blew down.
Oh, the tent.
Yeah.
That was our tent was
The Watson
destroyed.
tent.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a good one. I still have pictures from that.
Yeah.
It looked like one pole was hanging up. But that was a good season. Then we did that winter program that winter.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you would take saunas
We would take sauna, and I
almost
remember
every day.
Yeah, we'd get those things pretty hot. Sometimes
That
we'd
was-
have
We didn't know
guests
what we
there
were
with
doing
us.
either. That one
No,
time
no,
we got
we
it to
didn't.
what, 160?
oh man, we got
It's
it
like 40
hot.
minutes.
Your brain's gonna boil.
Don't know how I made it back home.
And then I remember we both got out, and we were sitting there and just staring off into space. And my arms were so weak, I couldn't hardly get it up onto the steering wheel. And I remember we both tested each other if we got home all right, because we were just so, it drained us.
It was bad.
But that program was good. We got to it every morning, and this. If I miss that this year, I think we're.
I don't know if she'll do it. No,
I
I think she's
told
doing
her.
it. I think she's starting it in January this year.
Yeah. Are you gonna come back and do it this summer? The running program.
I'm sure.
Probably, maybe.
I'm sure she'll let you if you.
I mean, maybe, but
If you're a college runner.
I don't know if I
I'm sure
heard.
she would. It'd be kind of nice.
The winter program was initially in the mornings, right? And then during the new year, she did it in the evenings.
I don't want to
Yeah,
do it in the
there
evenings,
was it was some in the evening. as
I don't
well.
want to do it in the evenings either.
No, I talked to her. I think she's gonna do it in the mornings.
And that was hard for me too, because I worked at Food Line at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
It was 3 years I worked there. 2 years.
Yeah. So let's
2 or more years. I
let's
mean,
talk
that was through high school. Yeah.
let's talk about that after we talk about this track season for the senior
Okay.
year.
Yeah, I agree.
So we did the winter program, like some lifting, some maybe a little bit of running. But you come into the track, you're strong, you're prepared.
Mhm.
Are you thinking about running in college yet?
Going into track,
You.
not exactly, because it was kind of like it was almost a split, like not split second decision, but it was like a pretty like off the cuff decision for me, which was the same with even starting cross country and quitting soccer. It was a very quick decision for me. That's honestly I guess not a good thing, but that's how I do a lot of my decisions in life.
Yeah.
I'm very indecisive, and I can never decide. So like sometimes I just have to do it.
Mhm.
Just have to go for it. Like cross country, I was in my room one night and I was like, I don't want to run soccer anymore. I'm going to do cross country. And so the next day I emailed Coach Montgomery, and I was like, hey, can I still do cross country? I know the season's already started late. And he said, yeah, sure, you can come. And so I joined it and never went back to soccer.
You know you're a runner when you say, "I didn't want to run soccer."
Yeah, I don't want to run soccer.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah.
I didn't want to play soccer anymore.
Yeah. So let's talk about track though. So you come into the season, right? And you didn't know if you wanted to run in college yet, but
Yeah.
did you have goals for the season, like times you wanted to hit?
I definitely wanted to like improve on my 800
Yeah.
because 800 I loved the 800.
Mhm.
Mile, I didn't have really interest in running it. 800 was really my main focus. And Coach Marshall let me pick my events, so I really only chose the 800 and the 4x8.
Yeah.
And she tried to get me to do the mile, but I just didn't want to do it. I wanted to focus on the 800. And so I did that, and I did have goals. And we put a lot more work in
Yeah.
that senior track year.
Mhm.
I feel like in my senior track year, we all worked a lot harder.
Mhm.
Even though, I mean, we did, goof around, we did do stuff, but we still ran.
The cake.
The cake,
By
and I
the
mean,
creek.
going to Earl's Diner.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I remember we did.
We did
there's a lot
run.
of workouts.
We did run. We did a lot of our like speed workouts and track workouts, and
I
we
was
got faster.
thankfully not there for some of those brutal track workouts
Yeah,
that you guys did.
That was a year that you, surprisingly, the year that we put more work in, you weren't there,
Yeah.
which is really surprising.
That was when I hurt my knee and I had to get my MRIs and everything. And then that was actually when Luke and I started the podcast too. So we
It was. I remember that was.
we would skimp practice.
I remember that. Dress up. Really, you'd have like
Just up in the state.
Yeah.
Go to practice.
after
we
you just
show
finished
up.
running.
but we showed for like 5 minutes.
I remember you changing the porta potty. I remember seeing you walk in like in shorts and like all sweaty, walk out in like a suit. It was like, you know, like Superman changing.
Yeah.
That was it. I had a good time. I mean, the beginning of that season, it was miserable.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
in a good mood. The weather
No, you
was
weren't.
terrible. The weather was terrible. It was cold and windy. But by the end of that season, it was nice outside, and we were all,
It's a good metaphor for life.
yeah. I really enjoyed the end of that season.
Yeah.
Some of it, I mean, it got kind of hairy in May. That May was it was a weird track season. It was a
That was also the season that you and Sam chose to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Because I missed my last 2 or 3
We were
meets.
going to try to get you to run that
Because
marathon.
I went to the beach for my brother's bachelor party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed
I think-
regionals.
Yeah. You
I
did.
missed regionals.
Yeah, that was sad.
I remember that because
I missed regionals. I missed like the last meet as well.
because we were going to try to get you to run that race with us.
Yeah, and looking back on it now, I mean, you can't look back and regret stuff, but I do wish I would have done it. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
It had been worth skipping that meet. Because that meet was... I didn't even, like, run in it anyways.
And that was the one in Christiansburg.
Christiansburg,
right?
yeah. And we ran the 4x8 and that was it.
Yeah.
And I had to leave early.
Yeah.
Because
you had graduation.
that day.
Oh, I did have graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. But we were done with that marathon by 11:30.
Yeah.
What time was graduation? It was like 6, wasn't
It was like
4.
4.
4. Yeah.
it? I remember graduation with it was that day too.
Yeah. That I guess was really poor timing, really.
It really was, yeah.
And it was strange not having you there that last... What was your last
Yeah.
meet, Floyd?
I guess it was.
Yeah, it would have been last meet with you guys.
That's right, because we were on our way back home that night. Remember how we were talking about like everything we had done
Yeah, we were.
and how this is the last few meets. Little do we know that was our last night. You know, kind of as a group there.
Well, at that point, too, I wasn't super worried about, like, my track meets because I'd already committed to Emory and Henry
Right.
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. So walk us through that process of reaching out to the Emory coach, like figuring out, hey, can I
Yeah.
run for you?
So it was, like, the middle of senior track year, and I was, like, we were taking track more serious, and I was, more excited about track. And so I emailed Coach Worley, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about going to Emory and Henry. Would you be able to offer me any scholarship money to run track and cross country? And so he reaches back out to me. He says yes, and, we go through the process, and, I, get accepted. I commit to Emory and Henry for cross country and track, which, was a great decision. Looking back on it, I'm really glad I did. Glad I reached out to him.
Had you already applied to Emory at that point?
I'd already applied to Emory and I was accepted.
Okay.
But I wasn't super sure on if I wanted to go to Emory.
Right.
But I was like, if I can run here, I was like, I'll do it because I do want to continue running. I want to continue my running career.
Yeah.
And I liked Emory. From like the looks of it, it was appealing to me, and it was definitely like up there. But the fact that I could run, like, really stuck out to me, and so I chose Emory, not just for the running, but also because it worked for me and it suited me.
Right. Yeah. So your day to sign comes. Walk us through that. Were you excited? Were you nervous?
I was a little like almost annoyed with it because it was so much work. Because I was already out of school at that point, so I had to come up to the school. I didn't have I had like one Emory shirt and all this stuff, and the paper to sign, it wasn't even like it didn't matter. Like, I'm already signed.
Right.
It was a blank piece of paper that I wrote my initials on, and it was just like pictures for like the newspaper and stuff, and I was like, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
A couple of my friends, that weren't runners were there as well, because, there was a lot of people from the track team and cross country team there because, I was like one of the only seniors, so everybody was still in school. So it was, all they had to do was,
Go down the hallway.
Yeah, go down the hallway. So I had a lot of like senior friends. They came in, which was nice to like show that like they supported me, because that was like the first, because track meets, no one really ever goes to track meets and cross country meets.
Right.
They're not really especially distance events.
Yeah, it's not spectator sport.
It's not a spectator sport really.
No.
And so it was nice to like see that they all like supported me in it, and it was nice to have like people there.
There were a lot of athletes signing.
There were a lot of yeah. It was
I think we had 8 maybe.
Yeah, it was
Elijah was one of those.
Elijah. No, he
Elijah didn't sign.
Elijah didn't sign.
Yeah, it signed until later.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
he hasn't signed it.
I thought he came and signed that day too.
No.
Elijah Cox or Elijah Smith?
Cox, yes. Okay.
Elijah
Okay,
Cox.
Elijah Cox maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because he signed to that South Carolina school.
Basketball team.
Yeah. And then
Cordy, who
Cordy
did
signed.
track. Natalie, who she signed at Emory for volleyball, right?
Yeah, she's not doing volleyball anymore actually.
Oh, what's she
She's
doing?
she quit volleyball and she's gonna do soccer.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah.
neat.
But yeah, and then Josh as well was going to Emory. There
Right,
was
for
3 of us
football.
going to Emory.
So you had a pretty good group of people going to Emory.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because Emory is a small school. I mean,
Right.
So it is a surprising amount that went to Emory.
Okay, so you graduate, you signed, everything's set. We have the summer.
So that was a good summer too.
That was a good summer. We did
had a lot of fun.
we did run a lot.
We
that
did the summer program again.
We didn't actually run a lot, but we
had
ran
your
some.
car, your little convertible.
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah.
get my car, and man, I love my car.
Yeah.
2001 MX-5 Miata. I love that thing. Convertible, black, tan top. Just wish I had a hard top, but
It's zippy.
it is zippy. It's a 6-speed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And it has all the bells and whistles on it. It is modded out.
So you're coming into running, or you're coming into the summer, you know you have to run because you've signed. You have a
Yeah.
commitment to a
Yeah.
team. What's that like? Because
Well, I was nervous. Like once it like really, I was like, these people, because I went and I had to do a mandatory tour day for Emory. Like you have to go, like one of like a couple days, just to like for them to like introduce you to the school,
Right.
and everything. So like I went and like I met a couple of my teammates, and like after talking to them, I realized I'm gonna have to get myself in gear because
Yeah.
like college running is a lot different than Carroll County High School running.
Yeah.
when we went to Glenville, you met a few of them too.
Oh yeah, I remember at the Glenver meet. That's a funny story. Do you want me to wait until I get to like the college experience?
You can
okay.
say
Because
yeah,
many of
no.
those Glenver people became my close friends
Right.
at Emory. Like I mean, they are my that is my friend group. I hang out with the Glenver people.
Yeah. It's
So-
up to you.
You can do it now. It doesn't matter to us.
We'll wait. I'd rather wait
Okay.
because
So
I think it'll fit in better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just guess cut that part out.
That summer was good. We did a lot of stuff.
That summer
we ran
was
and
good.
We hung out.
We did, yeah, and I did a lot of running on my own, actually. I was trying to get, like, man, it was a struggle because, I mean, we didn't do much mileage, even in track.
Right.
So I was just trying to get, like, 25 to, like, 30 miles a week, which at the time seemed like so much to me.
Mhm.
It was a struggle for me to, like, get that, because that's, like, at least 4 miles or so a day.
Yeah, I mean, if you divide it out, if you're only running 5 days a week, you have to do 6 miles each day. That's a lot.
Exactly, yeah, and, I mean, so I was... really, pressing myself to get it, doing doubles and stuff like that. And so I, because I'd been to Emory and I'd like talked to my teammates and I'd seen, that I really needed to get to work. And they were really welcoming as well, like the upperclassmen, because one of the track meets, they actually came up and introduced themselves to me. It was the Patrick Henry one, because I mean it's right there next to Emory,
Right.
Emory and Henry, and so they introduced me to like themselves and everyone else on the team, and it was nice to meet them. And they're all really encouraging people and very supportive, which all cross country runners I feel like are.
Yeah.
Cross country is a pretty accepting sport, and getting to know like a new set of like people can be hard at times, and it's nice when they take you in as one of their own.
Right.
But going back to like the experience day, it was interesting to see like, all these people, because like, you're about to like know these people for the rest of your college, experience. And these are people that, you're going to see pretty much every day. You're going to live in the same building with, and, you have to get to know them. And experience day was very interesting. That's really all I have to say about that. There wasn't much to it.
You meet people, you see new things, so you kind of get a grasp of what it's going to be like for the next few years.
So, you leave Carroll. Was it bittersweet, or were you ready to
Get out of there.
I was ready to get out of there and go on to college because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. And I mean, Emory's close enough for it.
Yeah.
You don't
It's
have to,
local.
It's an hour away.
You don't have to take a plane or anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, not like some people, I mean,
Chicago.
Cordy, yeah, going to Chicago. I mean, one of my teammates from Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour drive
Yeah.
just there, you know,
That's bad.
one way, yeah. And he doesn't have a car, so, you know, fly.
Yeah.
His parents drove for the first day. It was crazy.
That's wild. So you leave, and you went early that year. I think you went late July, was it?
Yeah, it was like,
You have to go because you're on the team and you have
yeah,
to
I
start
had to go earlier. It was like late July.
What was that like running with all these athletes who are have taken it a lot more seriously than we
'Cause
have?
We're a bunch of bums here, and then you went off and
Yeah.
went to the big league. So
And I mean,
how was that?
It was
Collegiate running.
this is the collegiate running part. I mean, it was a totally different experience. I mean, the first day of practice, and I'd been, you know, running on my own. I've been, you know, working pretty hard, in my own opinion. And I come in, and man, these guys, they're fast.
Yeah.
They are fast. And like, I'm barely able to keep up. I mean, there were other people who hadn't, you know, trained as hard over the summer. And so, you know, I was falling back in that group, and we ended up turning around. It was also raining the first day. It was pouring the rain. So, I mean, running in the rain is never fun. But yeah, no, it's not, Luke.
It can be fun.
It is. I know
sometimes.
you like running in the rain, but it is not fun to run in the rain, especially running hard in the rain.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
But so we were running hard, and I remember I go back. You know, I'm trying to like move in all my stuff that day as well. It's a stressful day.
Yeah.
And I go back, and man, I just lay down on my bed. I was like, this is gonna be rough. We did 6 miles the first day. It was captain's practice, so you know, it was just like it was like a base run. I don't even know what pace we were going, but it was. I don't believe it was very fast, you know, compared to like what I run now. Not a very fast pace, but like maybe like a high 7-minute pace or an 8-minute pace, like nothing crazy compared to, you know, what I run now. But I mean, just like the first introduction, it was a awakener. And so we continue on with the season. School starts as well. And being a student athlete, I mean, you really do have to like balance out your time, and you really have to plan it out, especially with like collegiate running, because it is a big commitment. Like, I mean, it's not just, you're not just going out and running. You have to do workouts on your own. You have to go to the gym. We have like designated lifts. You have to eat. You cannot miss meals. Because, I mean, when you're running that much, you're burning so many calories.
Right.
Burning like 3,600 calories every day. I mean, close to 4,000. I mean, you are burning so much because you're just running a lot. And so you really can't skip any meals. You have to make sure you're nourished. You have to make sure you're doing schoolwork. And you also just have to enjoy college.
Right.
I mean, that's a big part of it, too. You can't just go and do work and sports. I mean, you really do have to enjoy time with your friends.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I am happy with, that I did manage all three of those things well. I passed all my classes with all A's, and improved a lot in cross country, and spent a lot of time with my friends. And I am really happy about that. I was able to build a lot of relationships.
Yeah. What
But-
does your workload look like?
Workload? Well, see, it wasn't...
How many credit hours did you carry?
How many credit hours? I had 16.
That's a good
But
bit.
I dropped one of the classes. But I dropped that class like 2 days before the drop date, which maybe, you know, like, why would you do that? But that class, it was an art class. And that's the thing about liberal arts that is so annoying. You have to take classes that you don't need. And an art class, I'm not an art major. And that professor expected me to be an art major. I mean, everyone else in the class was an art major. And, like, he would, like, show, like, works that I thought were, like, you know, masterpieces. And he's like, this one's all right. It could be better. And I'm just mind blown by that. So I ended up dropping the class. I never even met the professor. I emailed him multiple times. He never responded to me. actually, I got hold of him once about some like magazine clippings for this like collage thing I had to do. And he was like, they're in this room. And he was not a great professor. And I, showed that in my report about him. That I was not very happy about him.
Do you have report cards in college?
No, not report cards, but like you do teacher evaluations.
Okay.
So like when I evaluated him, it
You
was
did for Whitfield too.
yeah, pretty much all colleges. I mean, high school, we had teacher evaluations.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't for every class though.
No, it was only for the college ones, only for the Whitfield classes.
Yeah.
So, were you bogged down by work, or was it very?
I
manageable?
mean, when I had the art class, yes, because those art projects took a long time. But the other classes, there was a lot of work, yes. But in my high school, like my senior year and junior year, I was arguably harder because I was doing a lot more work.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Brit Lit and chemistry and like all those other classes. They're a lot harder. They're tough classes.
Yeah.
And I mean British literature. I mean I remember talking to my mom about it, and she it has an English degree. She's an English teacher, and she's like, yeah, this isn't this. You wouldn't be doing this until you're like 4th year of English.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the Brit Lit class is a tough class. And that's another thing about the associates as well.
Do you think it really gets you ready for college?
It does, yeah. And I mean, doing the associates program is a good thing. It saves you a lot of time. It saves you a lot of money. It does save a lot. I mean, there's good things and bad things from it. I mean, I can go into those if you want.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the good things, it saves you so much time. It saves you so much money. It puts you. I mean, I came into Emory as a junior. Right. Academically, I came in with 70 credits. I have like some of the highest credits on my team.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, like I mean, technically I'm a freshman, but I mean compared to like my other teammates, because we do have a very young team.
Right.
I like am up there with credits, and so it's really good in that regard. But also, it's not. It takes away a lot of time that you could have spent in college, and a lot of time you could have because college is a great time. It's a good time to experience a lot of things, and doing your associates, you almost rush through it. Yeah. It's like you're rushing through life a little bit, and in a way, I almost regret it. But at the same time, for the path that I want to take, going to graduate school and all,
I think it'll work out.
It will work out. It'll work out, and it saves me a lot. It does save a lot of time, which is a good thing, because it's less time that I have to spend going through, schooling, and it'll save. And school is not cheap.
Yeah, school's not cheap.
And the less money that you can spend, the better.
Yeah.
So there are good things and bad things to it. I would recommend it for someone who's going through the high school. It is definitely a good program, especially take the classes.
Yeah.
Because you should definitely go to I mean, it's free community college.
Absolutely.
Like, you might as well.
Even if you don't do the whole associates, you might as
Even
well
if
take
you
the
don't,
classes.
yeah, you might as well. Because I mean, they don't transfer a lot. At Emory, it transferred a lot because I was able to work with my advisors and my major advisor, which is another benefit of Emory being a small school. You're able to have a personal connection, but it was it's not really widely like tech, for example. I know they don't accept a lot of the stats, and they don't accept a lot of classes regardless.
Math classes.
Yeah, they have a low transfer acceptance.
Right. Yeah, that can be challenging. So,
yeah.
You mentioned grad school. What are your plans after you graduate college?
After I graduate college, well, I want to go to law school.
Right.
I want to become an attorney with a focus on like corporate. I wanted to do corporate law.
Big law?
Big law, yeah. And I haven't really pinned down a law school yet, but I mean I haven't really even started practicing for the LSAT. So I still have a little ways to go, and but that is coming soon, like next year. And
it's pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting.
Your degree is in political science, right?
Yeah, that's my major right now, and I'm planning on doing a minor in business as well.
Okay.
Because I feel like that'll help with the corporate, and it also help with law school.
Is it specifically a pre-law track, or how does that work?
It's like what I'm in right now. Emory, it's different, because it's liberal arts and it's small and it's private.
Yeah.
It's a pre-law political science combined major.
Okay.
So it's like a 2-in-1 double whammy
Mhm.
type thing.
When we interviewed Jordan Williams, he went to law school, right? He's a lawyer.
I actually listened to that podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did what I don't really know what it's called, but it's like a dual degree program where he did an MBA alongside his JD.
Yeah.
It took him 4 years. Is that something you might be interested in doing?
I thought about it, but like at the point that I'm honestly just trying to like go quick.
Right.
Like
You want to work as a lawyer.
yeah, I want to, get out there and get going. Cuz I mean, on the track I am now, I'll be done by the time I'm 21,
Right. Wow.
which would be, I feel like pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
To be a practicing lawyer at the age of 21.
Yeah.
And I have thought of, like I have listened to that podcast and I have thought about, doing something like that. But I don't know. I mean, law is very different because you don't have to have any, preset things. I mean, everything helps.
Right.
Yeah. But it also,
It's kind of unique in the fact that if you have a JD degree and you pass the bar, you can do whatever you want as a lawyer.
exactly,
You're
yeah.
kind of lawyer.
You could be, if you're just a few months earlier or a few months younger, you could be representing DWI cases and not even be able to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had I'm assuming a specific kind of school in mind when you chose Emory. Maybe small, something
Mhm.
where you would know everyone, right?
Yeah, I did like the sound of Emory. I mean, I like the small atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
and it really is a great school. I mean, another thing about Emory as well, it's not a big party school. I mean, any college is going to be a big
Right.
school, but that's a big thing for me as well because from what I've learned from like a lot of my other friends who have gone to like these big universities and stuff, it is like there's so many parties and so much things going on
Yeah.
that are just distractions, really just distractions.
Right.
Like, people I know who've gone to tech, I mean, it's just, drinking is like drinking water over there. Like drinking alcohol is like the same. It's like, it's not dry campuses at all. In Emory, that stuff still goes on, but it's a lot less and there's a lot less distractions and it's easier to get focused. And the people who are there are more focused as well.
Right.
And so I really like that. It's good to get with like people who are focused on the same things as you.
Do you have a specific type of school for law school?
Any school he can get into.
Any school it depends on my LSAT.
Right.
It really does depend on that.
What kind of LSAT score are you looking to get? Highest one possible?
Highest one possible. I mean, back in like high school, I was looking at a lot of like the like different law schools and stuff. I would love to go to William and Mary.
Right. Yeah.
That's like a dream school for me.
UVA is a good one too.
UVA is a good one as well. Wake, yeah. But
Appalachian.
I don't know. I just like
Yeah.
it's next to the beach.
Yeah,
too.
you mentioned App to me.
App State.
No, App State, but Appalachian School.
Appalachian School of Law. I
Appalachian
did
School of
think about Appalachian School of Law, and I still am. Actually, interestingly, one of my teammates, his mom is on the like acceptance for like accepting people
Oh, wow.
into the school.
Yeah.
So I mean, because he's from Grundy,
Really?
so I mean, I feel like I would have a pretty good shot at getting into that school.
Right.
But it's not really my first choice though,
Sure.
because I mean, it is a smaller school, but it is a good school.
Mhm.
But it is definitely a thought to me, because Emory also does have a pretty good program transferring into Emory, or not Emory. Emory has a pretty good transfer program into Appalachian School of Law.
Mm.
They work together a lot,
Okay.
which is pretty interesting.
This is a funnel for kids
Yeah.
who want to go to law school.
Yeah, normally they accept a lot of Emory people.
Okay. Hey, it's always an option, right?
Yeah, no, it is an option. I mean, law school is a law school. So that is definitely on the table.
Are the like Harvards or the Yales
No,
any interest to you? No.
I mean, at that point, you're just paying so much money
Right.
just for a title.
Right.
Like, you're going to learn law pretty much anywhere.
Mhm.
I mean, you only get so much. And I mean, you don't want to live in debt your whole life.
Sure. Yeah.
And those schools as well, that is one thing. It's also about who you know
Mm-hmm.
to get into schools like that. Because, I mean, alumni, children of alumni have first priority.
Sure. Yeah.
And,
Are you gonna take the GRE?
The
Nah.
Joe Rogan experience.
the Joe Rogan experience.
The graduate readiness exam. I saw that some law schools are now accepting the GRE in place of the LSAT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but apparently if you take the LSAT instead, you're eligible for more scholarship. I'm not really sure how that works. I just
I'm just
read that it's accepted, but maybe not preferred. I'm not sure. I was wondering if maybe you knew about it or.
no. I mean, it just like the LSAT. It's like tried and true. Like you might as well just
Yeah,
stay
it's
with
the
that.
test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Ethan, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I don't know. I don't like to think that long into the future.
If you had to.
If I had to
You
think
had
of
to.
myself in 10 years, well, in 10 years, see myself as a practicing lawyer.
There you go.
I like to work for a firm, a big like corporate firm.
Like in John Grisham's novel, The Firm.
The Firm. I've never read that.
You should probably read it.
I should read that. Yeah, sounds good. I'm surprised you don't have it over there.
So you're working in a law firm,
Mm-hmm.
practicing lawyer. What else?
What else?
You're gonna work 80 hours a week, 40.
What does your personal life look like?
Personal life. Still drive a Miata. Maybe a newer one though.
Okay.
Like one of
Because
those-
you can afford it.
Yeah, because I can afford it.
You're gonna live
And-
in a penthouse on the top of a building,
No, suburbs.
suburbs.
Not a
Okay.
big house. I don't really want a big house. I'm not a big fan of big
Wife,
houses.
kids.
Wife, kids. I mean, it depends if I find the right woman.
That
know?
boy.
I mean, I like to see myself as being successful.
Right.
Living. I don't want a big house. Don't want to live super big life, but I do want to be successful, and I want to be able to, provide for my family.
So I have a question. You kind of touched on it earlier, but never really fully answered it. Why did you quit soccer?
Dude, man, soccer was just. It was not.
Because I always
Really?
knew you as the soccer kid in middle school.
Yeah, no, I used to play a lot of soccer and played soccer as long as I, could walk. I mean, all my friends played soccer. Soccer was what I did. I practiced soccer back home. And I mean, I wasn't horrible at soccer either. And it was just like one day, I just decided I didn't want to do it. And the team, soccer is normally, it's not a very it's a pretty how do I say this, toxic, but it's like a very everyone's always at each other's throats.
Competitive?
Very competitive, but we would lose a game and everybody would blame everyone else.
Yeah.
It was always, this is your fault, this is your fault, hey, it's you didn't hit that. It's like stuff like that. And so everybody would just always be at each other's throats. People were always arguing at practice, and I was just kind of tired of the team atmosphere of it, and I wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to as well. It just wasn't as fun to me. And so I was like, one thing I had, was good at in soccer was running up and down the field. I could always, have endurance to keep running. And I was like, I want to try cross country. So I did. And
Was it different than how you thought it was going to be?
it was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because I used to in elementary school, I was in the Junior Olympics for the mile. I won the mile my fourth grade year. And so I was like, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll be pretty good at it.
That was
And-
foreshadowing.
Yeah, and it was hard.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I stuck with it because it's really paid off. And I've really improved, especially with college running.
So, what are some of the biggest lessons you've taken away from being a college student for a semester?
The biggest lessons, tips and tricks,
Tips
survival
and tricks,
guide.
That's right. Ramen.
The-
How much do you eat?
How much ramen? None.
Ooh, okay.
None. I don't eat any ramen. My roommate eats a lot of ramen, and sometimes it smells a little weird.
Yeah.
But
Microwave.
Yeah.
Steam.
yeah, all that stuff. But I try and stay away from it because as a athlete, you got to eat healthy,
Right.
and you can't be eating a bunch of ramen. And although I have been surviving on Pop-Tarts, that has been my breakfast for many days.
Do you toast them?
No, just raw.
Any toppings?
Nope, I eat them on the way to class.
Okay.
Because I had 8 a.m.s, which
Ooh.
doesn't see, that's like, oh my gosh, 8 a.m. That's not that early, but
In college?
because high school, I used to get up at 6 or something to get ready for
Yeah.
school, but in college, man, it's so different. You just getting up at 8 a.m. is a struggle, and so I'd be eating my Pop-Tart on the way to class, and that was my breakfast for many days.
What time do you practice?
No,
Right.
cross country, during school we practiced midday, so around like 4.
Really?
Did you ever have any like practice and class conflicts? And if so, how were those handled?
Not for me, but a lot of my teammates, not a lot of my teammates, but some of my teammates did. Most time, a lot of like when we had practice, it was the time that worked best for everybody.
Right.
For like some of my teammates, like the class conflict, they would just miss practice and they'd have to make up the run at a different time. It was never a really big deal.
That sucked though.
And I mean, only like it was only missed like, you know, like one time a week, and they would just run like 30 minutes later than us, you know.
Right.
Like they'd only be a little bit behind. Not very bad. Or they'd run earlier in the day. One of my friends, he did equestrian, and he had to run a lot, like just before the day started, like at like 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But it's not a very big deal. It never really was a big deal. And our coach, she was very, Sadie Matello, she is a great coach. I mean, that program at Emory and Henry would not be anything near what it is without her. She came from Chihowie. She was actually the head coach there.
Okay.
And she was a D1 runner at Utah. She was actually originally from this area, but she is a great coach. She's fast too, very fast.
How'd she end up in Utah?
That's where she went. They gave her offers. I mean, she went D1 there, you know.
Yeah.
Or she actually lived somewhere near there.
Was it University of Utah?
Yeah. Yeah, state school.
Mhm.
I mean, she is very fast.
Yeah.
And she is a very good coach. She's very strict. She's like Coach Marshall, but like strict. Like, you're not going and gonna go party at the creek. You're gonna practice.
Do you have any regrets so far in this college semester?
I mean, you can't live with regrets, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you did have some, what would it be?
Taking that art class.
Yeah.
Well, see, yeah, that art class was just absolutely horrible.
Could you have taken some other?
I wish I would have
classwork?
dropped it sooner.
Okay.
I could have maybe taken it, but when they gave it to me, they're like, because I actually had stats, and went and talked to my like professor, and she's like, because Dr. Fisher, she's my major, like advisor for my major, and so I talked to her about stats, and she's like, yeah, I'll approve it. You're good. You don't have to take stats. So like I was good for that, but I needed another, you know, more credit. So they're like, we have this art class. You have to take a creative arts. So we'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, art shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
And it was also online too.
Oh.
It was an online art class. And I was like, it shouldn't be that bad. Like, you know, I can draw, you know, I'm not that bad at it. And it was absolutely horrible. Hardest experience I've ever had.
When did you first realize that this is going to be, you know, something that's not going to be for me?
With art class?
Was it the first day?
Pretty much like the first like project. I was like, when I had to get a bunch of like materials, and it was like all these different type of pencils, and I didn't know what the difference was. And like all this stuff that I was just like, okay, this is going to be a lot. But I was like, you know, I'll make it through. But it started bringing my like grade down. What I had to see, and I just, you know, don't want to have, you know, I got to keep a GPA higher
Right.
for, you know, going to law school, going to graduate
You
school.
got a 4.0 right now.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, it was like the only class bringing me down. I didn't have to take it. I can take a different creative arts class. Like I thought about taking theater or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Be interesting. Or like anything else, because there are so many other choices.
I
Like
bet that'd be
music.
good for like depositions too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would. But in the art class, the professor, he just took it way too serious for what it was. It was like a high school art class, but the professor is like Picasso, and he like wants you to paint the cathedral. Like, you know, it's like something that is just so unbelievably hard. And yeah, that's one regret. Another regret that I would have is don't really have many regrets that I would like.
Is there anyone you wanted to talk to but didn't? You don't have to name drop, but like maybe
Maybe.
just maybe there's a social group that's on campus that you wanted to join but didn't, or a club.
There's a pre-law group that's on Emory that I'm gonna go to more when I get back. But I was just so busy with school and classes, and running and stuff, that it was also like it collided with my practice time as well. They were at the same time on Thursday, and I can't really skip practice.
Right.
So I just ended up not going to any of the meetings, and also like learned about it super late into like the semester. So I am gonna go into that more, because there's a very something that I need to do, and a lot of like people that I know who want to go into pre-law or go into law at Emory are doing that program. So that is one regret, that I didn't get to work with that group as much.
Do you have a set practice schedule, like certain workouts on certain days?
Yes. Yeah. No, the schedule it's always given to us a week in advance. Everything is mapped out for us, from paces to like mileage. I mean, we have a mileage goal, and every workout has the mileage that we're supposed to get for that mileage goal. I mean, everything adds up. Everything has a science to it. Everything has a math to it. It's very in depth.
What's the longest week you've done?
Longest week I've had personally so far is a 60-mile week. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a whole lot, yeah. It is, I mean, going from running like a max of like 30 miles a week, that
doubling.
being your max. I mean, going to 60, it is tough. And not even just 60, you're going at like a certain pace. Like, it doesn't get any slower than 7:30.
You're not just slogging.
7:30 was the slowest, and pretty much every time, because like all my teammates were running faster, so we're doing 7 minutes, 7:15 for workouts. We're dipping down to like mile pace. We're hitting, everything's like pretty much threshold. You're going fast all the time, but after a while you get used to it, and you do build up the speed and you build up the endurance, and it has helped me a lot. I mean, I've physically and like mentally improved as a runner.
Have the types of workouts changed from cross country to indoor track?
Yes. I mean, especially from cross country. I mean, it's all distance.
Right.
But our indoor track, it's like separated into 3 groups. There's like a group for like 400 and 800, and there's a group for 800 to like mile to 3K, and then there's like the longer distance group, who do the 5K and stuff like that. And I'm in the middle distance group, so I've been like doing mile and 1K.
Are you looking forward to the outdoor track?
I am looking forward to outdoor. I enjoy indoor as well. It's a fun change. I wish we had it at Carroll.
Right. They used to apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They got rid of it for insurance liability reasons.
It makes you a better runner.
Yeah.
It definitely, because I mean, every person that I've talked to who does indoor is like, a good track runner.
Right.
Because it's like it always improves.
It's another semester or another season of running that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel more mature since the one semester you've been gone? Do you feel more adult?
I feel like I've had a lot more freedom, and I've been a lot more independent.
Yeah.
Mature, I don't know, but definitely a lot more adult. There's a difference between feeling more adult and feeling more mature. Because you can be an adult and be immature.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've definitely grown more responsible and, taking care of myself, because, I mean, I only went back 3 times, I think. Yeah, 3 times I came back from Emory. So I spent a lot, pretty much I lived at Emory. That was, I mean, it was to a point I was calling it home. It's like, go home. And I wasn't talking about, coming back to Carroll. I was talking about, going back to my dorm. And, I mean, the people that I was with, I mean, it was my teammates. So, like, we were together all the time. Like, we became pretty much family. Like, we spent so much time together, so much bonding. It is a great experience, too.
Are there frats on campus?
See, Emory
We
has...
talked a little bit about this today with Alan Worrell. He went to Emory too. So
I'm curious what he said.
He said they're basically social groups, and they're specific to the campus.
Yeah.
And they're not like national
nationally
things.
syndicated.
No.
groups.
I was wondering if that had changed since he'd been there, though.
No. The frats at Emory are pretty much the same as what he was saying. I mean, they... Like, when you think frat, you think, like,
Party.
red Solo Cup,
Yeah.
drunk, like, dude, that's crazy. Like, stuff like that. And it's not anything like that. Like, at Emory, and that's another thing, too. It's not a big party school.
Right.
I mean, this one guy, he tried to get me to join a frat. He would, like, text me on, like, Instagram and Snapchat about joining, and I did not want to join the frat because also it'd just be more time waste, and you had to pay $100 to join. It's like $100 dues,
Yeah.
and I don't want to pay to, pay for friends. Like it just doesn't seem like something I want to do. And he was really persistent about it, and like he invited me over for like board games one night, and I was like, doesn't seem like a very fratty thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing board games.
I'm in.
Yeah. I mean nothing against it. It's just like when you think of frat, it's like you thinking partying, going crazy, because that is how it is at like all these other schools, at Virginia Tech, at Radford.
When they say risk, you think something else, not
exactly
the board game.
Yeah. Like, let's play chess. It's like, okay, but
What does
no,
chess
I know
mean?
I love chess.
Yeah.
I love chess, but like, it's
what does
not
chess mean to a frat?
exactly. It's just not the same as other schools. But I mean, there's nothing bad about it. I mean,
just not for you.
it's just not for me.
Right.
Yeah, and not for like a lot of people. I'd say the frats are not very big at Emory. Sports is the biggest thing at Emory, because I mean, the majority of people at Emory are student athletes. Because I mean, you meet someone new and you're like, oh, hey man, it's like, what sport do you do? Yeah, that's like the first thing you ask. Because like, and a lot of people wear like, there's a lot of shirts, like there's a store and you get like free items, and so a lot of people like get shirts of their sport. So like you see a lot of people like people are known by like, oh, that's the basketball guy, or oh, that's Ethan, the cross country guy. Right. Stuff like that.
Yeah. You mentioned previously in the year that you want to start reading more. Have you read any more books since you've been at college?
Only books that I've had to.
Right.
I have, I know. I think I talked about this last time when I talked to you about that. You get, and then you just don't do it, and then you never do.
Because you said, once I go to school and I have some more free time, I'm going to start reading more.
Well, I didn't have free time. That's the thing. I didn't have free time. I was pretty busy all the time. There was no really time that, like, I had a lot of downtime. Because, I mean, I woke up, I, did my class, went to classes, did my schoolwork, went to practice. And, I mean, some days, practice, and then you go eat, and then you go to lift, and then your day's over.
Do you think if you didn't run, you'd have a lot more free time?
Oh, yeah. I'd have so much more free time, for sure. But I wouldn't take that over running. I have enjoyed running immensely.
I guess if you didn't do that, you'd get a job or something, too.
Yeah.
So what classes did you take this semester? You already mentioned the art class.
Yes.
And your perils with it, but what else?
I had to take a lot of introduction courses. So, Emory, it's a liberal arts school, so I had to take a Core 100 class, which is like your starter freshman class. And that class, actually a very interesting class. It was a look on food in society. And it's not exactly what you think it is. It's more like a cultural look on food. Like, we did a lot of like, looking at food around our own area. Our professor, Dr. Edward Davis, he's a great professor. He's a terrific guy. And he does a lot of seed saving from like farmers in the local area. And he talked about Carroll County and Galax and a lot of places, Floyd, around here. So that was a very interesting class, and got to look at like a lot of cultural food from around the world. And a lot of people, share their, because there's a lot, it's college, and there's a lot of different people from a lot of different places. And so a lot of people talking about culture from where they're from. Because there was a guy, he, not originally from Africa, but like his parents were. And so there was he had a lot of, cultural African dishes that he talked about. And we ended up doing a project for the local elementary school where we went and like talked to them about foods and local foods and stuff like that. So that was a very interesting class. And then I had a philosophy class.
Ooh.
And philosophy was very interesting.
I bet.
It's, sometimes it's like hard to like grasp everything because it's like so much. And
it's kind of esoteric.
It is very, yeah. And like when you're like the professor I had, Ben Letson, he's a great guy. He's very, very good in what he does. I mean, he went to Vanderbilt.
Wow.
He, doctor in what he does, Dr. Letson. But he would go off on these tangents, and sometimes he would get so confusing that you'd have to ask him, be like, what do you mean? You'd have to like stop him and ask him. And another interesting thing, I mean, my mom, she's a alumni in Emory and Henry.
Mhm.
She actually had Ben Letson when
Oh.
she was there.
Wow.
And he was like just starting out. He was a new teacher there. And I had him now, and he's
Full circle.
yeah, and he's,
Have you asked him if he remembers your mom?
yeah, I talked to him about it.
Okay.
I don't know if he really did, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
Of
like
course.
so many years ago.
Oh yeah, sure, I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember. But you know,
She sat right here.
yeah.
No, she sat on the inside.
But and then I also had a political science class. It was an international relations. That was like, you know, one of my main classes because that's more about my major.
Right. Yeah.
And that was with my advisor. Like she, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fisher was in there, and she's great as well. That is one thing about Emory. All the professors are great, and you really get to build a personal relationship with all of them.
What's the class sizes look like?
It depends on the classes. So like for a lot of my like introduction courses, my core class, 20 people. My philosophy class, it was an introduction to philosophy.
Mm.
So there's a lot more people in it, like 30,
Mm.
which I say a lot.
A lot, yeah. The
But
exercise
that's
is so
for
class
an
at the high
introduction
school.
course is like small.
Yeah.
Like I mean, at Virginia Tech that'd be 500 people.
Oh, if not more.
Because I mean, I was talking to like, you know, I have friends who go to Virginia Tech and they talk and they have 500 people in a class.
Even Liberty, like Liberty's big.
Yeah, and they have like their professor isn't even like it's like a assistant professor or something
Right.
like that.
A TA.
Like it's yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had the same person every day. You know, you build a relationship with them.
What-
And
What if
my fourth class, I won't even talk about the art class because
Yeah.
it's traumatic.
We already talked about it.
Yeah, talk about it enough. My fourth class was Introduction to Christian Faith, but
Okay.
it was the most unbelievably boring class ever.
Yeah, so,
So-
I did want to ask about this. I've seen that the chapel on Emory is really pretty, right?
That's when my
Mhm.
parents got married.
Really?
That's where my parents got married.
I didn't know that.
Mm.
Anyways, chapel is a big part of the campus on Emory. Is it a religious school? Like,
It's-
religiously affiliated?
Yes, like you are required to take a religion class,
Right.
but not Christian.
Okay.
It's like you're not required. It's like Liberty, but it's like super tame
Right.
compared to Liberty. I mean, there's no like
Bedtime.
restriction. Yeah, there's no bedtime restrictions. Like, doesn't matter what dorm, you know. Like, there's no like sign in. Like, there's no like visiting hours. Like to see like to go to a girl's dorm. Like,
Sure.
it's
You can go anytime you want.
it's just like the only thing is like it's a dry campus. Like there's a dry campus and they have religious service.
Mhm.
That's
Are
really
you-
it.
Are you required to go by your coach or anything? Because
No.
when Michael Jordan played for UNC,
Yeah.
his coach would require him and his teammates to attend a religious service unless they were opted out by their parents. And I thought that was interesting. UNC is obviously not a religiously affiliated school, being a state public
Yeah.
school, but I was wondering if maybe there was like a religious component to Emory, because I know a lot of people who are religious go to Emory and they
Mhm.
praise it for being religious friendly, I guess.
It is very religious friendly, but I mean it's also like they accept a lot of other things as well.
Right.
I mean, it's not like required by coaches, but it is like encouraged.
Mhm.
I've gone to like several of the FCA things. FCA is pretty big there.
Yeah.
Pretty big. It's not like I mean not everyone there is, and there's definitely people who aren't religious. It's not like required. It's not like how Liberty is that you have to go to a church service.
Sure.
Every so so much. But it is encouraged by the president as well.
Yeah.
Religion is a thing. I don't know what else to say about that really, because it's really just
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
it's not like a big deal there.
So, what are your classes next semester? Because we've covered this semester.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Curious what your schedule looks like.
It is pretty much all political science classes.
So you don't have any two-parters?
No, I don't have any two-parters, but they're all political science classes, all classes that influence my major. So I have lifetime wellness, which is a requirement for it's a core type class.
Sure. Yeah.
It's nothing to do besides to get me a degree.
Okay.
And then, interestingly, I have introduction to martial arts.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, that's the interesting about liberal arts. You have to take 2 HHP classes, which are like kind of gym classes, something like that.
Did you had to take one of those classes for? Well, you had to get a health credit for your associate's degree, right? You got CPR. Did that not transfer over, or?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
That's unfortunate.
It is, yeah. But introduction to martial arts sounds pretty interesting
Yeah,
to me.
that's not fun.
Hopefully it'll.
Maybe
Is
it's
it
an easy A.
hands-on?
Yeah, it should be an easy. All the HHPs are pretty much easy A's, but they're like half credit, so
Oh, okay.
they're not really that big. And then I have constitutional interpretation.
Oh,
Yeah,
That'll be a good
that'll
one.
be a fun one.
heavy hitter.
It will be the president and Congress.
Okay.
Modern espionage,
Ooh.
There you
which
go.
I'm actually looking forward to that one. That would be
That'll be
pretty
neat.
interesting. And then introduction and research methods.
Okay.
And I think it's the constitutional interpretation is taught by a lawyer, a local lawyer.
Okay.
So that'll be an interesting one. And I think it's like at night too.
Does
It's like super late in the day.
Emory have a research university component? Or is it just
What do you mean by that?
like A, does Emory have grad school?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it does.
B, do any of the professors there do research? And,
Yes.
Like, publish? Okay.
Yes, they do.
So
I mean,
it's
my
a-
own professor, Dr. Fisher, she has published a lot of papers. I mean, my core professor, even Dr. Davis, he's wrote a book.
Okay.
He wrote a book about collard greens. He's like the biggest researcher of collard greens in the world, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah,
But
that is interesting.
I mean, if you have something that you're passionate about, power to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's really passionate about it, and that's what he chose to do his research about, and that's his life passion.
Do they have like grad students who help them with their research or undergraduate students? Or is it kind of independent? And is it sponsored by the university?
See, that's what I'm not sure about, but I know, pretty much each of my professors have done, published works and stuff like that.
Could you become a TA, or would you consider?
Yeah,
being
that's
a
mainly what I'm
assistant?
asking.
You could be, but I haven't really considered it, and I don't know if I really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not super relevant for a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Ethan, is there anything more you'd like to add about college life? Anything you'd like to say? Any stories you'd like to tell us?
Any stories I'd like to tell you? Yeah. One thing about college, you have to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, stay in your room. You really have to go out. You have to make friends. And that's the thing about Emory as well. You have to go to the small events. You have to make friends. You have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You have to be more social, and it'll benefit you because I've done a lot of stuff. I mean, me and my friends, we went caving. We went and explored a cave. I mean, it's not like going to a cavern either. It's like just a cave.
Yeah.
Like we went like a couple miles deep into it.
That's scary.
With a tour
No.
by yourself?
Yeah, by ourselves.
That's scary.
It was called Worley's Cave, which
Okay.
is funny because our head coach's name is Worley, and that's one reason we found it. But it's actually an interesting thing. I mean, Worley's Cave, it's a great experience. I mean, you just go in there. We had some headlamps.
People do it like regularly?
Yeah, I mean, not super regularly. I mean, a lot of people get tours, but we didn't.
Okay.
We're also broke.
Yeah.
We're all college students. We're all broke.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we go in this place. I'd done a little bit of research before, on some things, but same time, it's, there was not much on this place at all.
Was it kind of hairy?
It, with some of the people we were with couldn't really handle it as well, but
Claustrophobic.
yeah.
That
some
would be
people-
me.
I mean, there was this one spot that we went over that it was pretty sketchy. A lot of people turned back at that point. There was like 7 of us who continued. It was like a 12-person group, and everyone else went back, and the 7 of us continued on. And it's a very interesting experience. It was a lot of fun. One of my friends, he actually ended up going back and camping in the cave by
Wow.
himself.
Okay. That's a twist.
Yeah, he's crazy. We went up to like the channels as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of that place. It's
Mm-mm.
beautiful. Oh my gosh. You need to go at some point. Went to this waterfall. It's called like I forgot what it's called. Went one day before one of our meets. It was great. It's like a really big waterfall out in the middle of like nowhere. And just a lot of other things. Live the college life,
Have you been to many sports games? Because I talked to one person and they said go to as many sports games as you can.
You definitely should. Think about my roommate, he's a football player because I room random. He's actually he's a freshman. And he's pretty daggone good too, because a lot of the freshmen don't play, and he got to play a couple of the games. Actually made a few tackles in them. So yeah, I mean, you definitely should go to like a lot of the sports games if you can. They're a whole lot of fun, especially in college. But at Emory, I mean, they're not as big, as like your D1 schools are gonna be.
Right. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Before we end it, we have a series of questions that we ask every interviewee. I'll let Luke.
So this is kind of unique for you.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for young people just making their way in the world?
Making their way. Enjoy life. Don't rush through it, because you gotta enjoy the moment, and don't be afraid to experience life. Don't hold yourself back. You just gotta go for things. You have to go for it. You gotta take it, and you can't just wait and see what's gonna happen. You just gotta go.
Second question. I'm sure you're familiar with it as you're a dedicated listener of the podcast. Hopefully, right? You've listened to some episodes.
Yeah.
But we believe that it's very indicative of a person's true heart and who they are, and that is, what is the meaning of life to you?
What is the meaning of life? Life is about experiences. That is, truly what I've always thought. It's about what you make it and what you seek out and how you live it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ethan Dalton, you're a great personal friend of both me and Ethan's.
Mr. Dalton.
Mr. Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been
Thank you,
been a great
Jeffrey.
experience to have you on.
Yeah, thank you
It's
for
been
coming out.
great.
And even when you're not feeling that great, Luke and I both enjoyed it, and we're super thankful that you've been around for us to talk to. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.